Hello everybody, my name's James. Welcome to the Planet FPL Gameweek 16 Deadline stream in partnership with FPL Team. And it's live. FPL Team is your best one-stop shop for all your future planning, which is particularly important when you're looking to consider how to use your Arseman chip. It's just gone 12:30 PM. We are 57 minutes away from the Gameweek 16 deadlines. Reminder, we've got 4 games at 3 o'clock today. So who knows, there may even be a little bit of information on the likes of Arsenal and Liverpool between now and deadline. Over the next 57 minutes or so, I will try and answer as many of your FPL dilemmas as possible. Questions will, as per usual, be answered in order of submission. Repeat/similar questions may well be skipped. And many of your questions may be answered by what's on the screen. I'll take you through some of the graphics now. So to the left of me, you'll see my correct score predictions, and that will rotate with my captaincy preference for this week as well. It is Salah over Palmer for me on captaincy. Why, James? Well, I need a very good reason to go against Mo Salah at the moment, and Calvin Bassey's suspension doesn't give me enough of a good one. Even though I do think Chelsea may well outscore Liverpool in the game week, it just doesn't feel like Salah won't be involved significantly in anything good that Liverpool do at the moment. So I'll be captain Mo. Transfer is rolled for me. Up to 3 free transfers. I line up this week as Raya, Gabriel, Hall, Ait-Nouri, Saka, Captain Salah, Vice Captain Palmer, Antoine Semenyo, Jackson, João Pedro and Isak. The bench will intrigue many of you. Fabianski, Rogers, Porro, Fass. Yes, Porro on the bench. Why, James? Well, Ait-Nouri and Hall have brilliant home fixtures. I have a negative bias against Tottenham. Most of you know that. We will play Archie Gray and Radu Dragusin at centre-back. And I think we will play Lucas Bergvall as the number 6 tomorrow in the absence of Yves Bissouma and Rodrigo Bentancur through suspension. Of course, Romero and Van der Ven are both injured again. There is only one team in this league that I think might not score against Tottenham, and that's Southampton. I'm aware of Porro's Hall capability. There's no doubt about it. I also do think there is a small, and I must stress, small chance that Pedro Porro could be benched on Sunday. And the same goes for Destiny Udogie. That's by virtue of the fact that they both played the 90 minutes on Thursday. We play Manchester United Thursday and then Liverpool next Sunday. Right, if there's a game that one of them is going to get rotated, the chances are it's this one. I suspect there's a possibility one gets rotated tomorrow and one gets rotated Thursday. I do genuinely think that Jed Spence might start tomorrow. I do have both Porro and Udogie in my predicted Tottenham lineup as it stands. That won't change between now and deadline, but I do think there's a possibility that it could well be a benching. The excellent fixtures for Hall and Ait-Nouri mean that they're going in. So that's the decision. I'm not going to be changed on that, and most people think that's silly. Well, James, what's the point of owning him then anyway? Well, that's great cover for me if Gabriel doesn't make it. I do think Gabriel will make it, but if he doesn't, that's great cover for this week. Anything I buy is inferior to Porro this week. Pedro Porro is almost definitely getting sold for me next week. So he essentially doesn't exist for me anymore unless Gabriel's not in the Arsenal team, and I do think he will be. You can see all of my predicted lineups below the team graphic of my own on the screen. All 20 teams' predicted lineups are there. Right at the bottom of the screen across the ticker, you'll see next 5 fixtures for each team and all the flagged players currently as per FPL's website. And above that and below me, the ever-important benching dilemma screen, where there are 2 players together. The player with the tick is the preferred option to start. They run in order, pages 1, 2, 4, left to right, and you'll also see some goalkeeper dilemmas on page 5. That's the graphics covered. If you see that your question's been answered on the screen, the courtesy of deleting your message would be much appreciated. I will still give you the shout out. Let's get into the queues. JP, hi James, is Ortega City's number 1 now? No. I was very, very drunk Wednesday night, but didn't Ederson playing goal on Wednesday night? Or have I completely missed that? You've got me searching through shit. I drank way too much on Wednesday night. That wasn't the plan. It wasn't Ederson in goal. You've got me questioning now. Yes, he was. I'm going out of my bloody mind. So Ederson was back in goal Wednesday, so maybe that's it now. So if you're asking for fancy, I'd be very much avoiding that. Hello, Richard Sleeman. Hope it will. Aaron Hill says, hi, James. Thoughts on Enzo over Semenyo longer term? Semenyo not done it for me these past few weeks, and I like the look of Enzo at that value. Also, Stupinan still a good buy. All the best. Is Stupinan short term could be good over the next 3 or so. We still don't know the status of Kadioglu. Jack Hinshelwood could also play there. Is 50-50 rated this week. So Stupinan and avoid for me. On Enzo Fernandez, it's really repetitive, guys. We discussed this a lot on Clash of Correspondence. If someone wants to go and buy at the moment, his positioning is extremely enticing. I have no problem with that. I only have a problem if people are concerned of cutting themselves off of 3 other Chelsea, i.e. Palmer, Jackson and a defensive player. Otherwise, if everyone's happy with that and they don't want any defensive or they don't want Jackson, you want to buy Enzo Fernandez, you crack on, mate. Ripwit Via says Lewis and Greaves out for Consor and Hall from -4. It's interesting timing on Esri Consor. Forest away, City at home, Newcastle away, Brighton at home across the next 4. What's that offer for? Because he returned against Southampton last week. But the moment's gone, isn't it? I'd be attacking different teams. So I'd more be looking at the likes of Bournemouth players, for example, at this moment, or a Chelsea player. I understand the will and the want to get rid of one of those 2 players, but I think for me right now that would just be something like Lewis to Hall, and not take the -4 for the other one. That would probably be my take. I mean, just getting value, but you can't need the money at this moment. So something like Lewis to Hall, timing very good to buy there with Leicester at home for Newcastle. I think leave the other one, but then also I can't see the rest of your defence, mate. Shout out Billy Taylor, hope you're well, mate. Geddy says bench 1 of Kirkes, João Pedro, Mitoma, defensive 1, mate. Pranaya says undecided between Kirkes, Colwell for this game week. Colwell enables Wood and Enzo for game week 17. Kirkes would mean Rao and Semenyo / Enzo for game week 17. Which one do you prefer? Questions that have got less options in it, which are easier for me to read and then take in the information. Kirkes, probably. Is the question for like starting this week or to buy? If I'm buying at this moment, I'm buying Colwell probably. Gavin Richardson says, happy birthday, babes. It's yesterday, Gavin, but thank you, mate. Would you rather people wish you happy birthday or smash the like? Smash a like. Back says, and hit the sub button. Honestly, you don't. At which point, I was thinking about it, which point you stop celebrating. I had this conversation with someone in the office the other day. I think it's about 33. Once you're about 33. Nah, James, I still celebrate. Good, that's fine. You know what I did yesterday? I travelled back from Glasgow and then started prepping for this. Burke says, hi, James. Looking to move off from Bumo. Who do you prefer for the mid-long term out of Munoz, Smith Rowe, Johnson? Munoz, Smith Rowe would allow upgrading to Trent and would play Rodgers over them this week. Cheers. On the face of it, and despite my Tottenham concerns, Brennan Johnson, mate. Richard says, hi James, would you consider triple captain on Palmer this week? Salah will tempt many in my mini league with the missing Fulham defenders. Could be an opportunity, high ceiling. I mean, sure, like Salah and Palmer in Fury, any good fixture, sure, go for it, but I wouldn't be doing it, mate. MKS says, hello FPL upright, beware. MKS says, hi James, does Kirkes' attacking threat make him better than Colwell Hoyson, given both defenders are performing equally? You see Hoyson's a long-term pick given Senesi is out for long. So, yeah, it was handy to get clarity yesterday on Marcus Senesi being out 3 to 4 months. And it might be something I look at potentially again as a game week 18 transfer. I realise I might have to pay 4.4 by that point. But yeah, going to monitor that over the next few. I think with a club like Bournemouth, maybe there's not enough upside in Kirkes to pay that little bit extra. But both players would come under consideration. I would say that's a close call. Kirkes is the better asset, but he does cost slightly more. So maybe it's relative to if you need that money or not as well. In terms of buying now, again, there is a slight preference for Chelsea at this moment in time. But ask me again in 2 weeks, you might get a slightly different answer. By the way, shout out to our patrons as ever who are watching live. Thank you for your continued support. If we do have any team leaks going around, please do give me a tag on our Slack channels so I can share with the community here. Please do double check sources. I presume as we are deadline ahead of 3 p.m. kickoffs, there will be some chances out there today. JP says, how long should I give Semenyo and 8 Nori before I get rid? No other fires bar Gabriel. Probably both on chopping blocks next week, mate. I think for me, 8 Nori might get one more 17. And Semenyo might hang around my squad as well. I mean, at the moment, I'd play Rodgers next week against City rather than Semenyo at Manchester United. I spoke about this Rodgers and that fixture a couple of weeks ago. It's not to say I wouldn't still move him on and start someone else instead, but I have a plan. It involves Diogo Jota, so it probably involves starting Morgan Rodgers next week. 8 Nori will be kind of dependent on how I feel and Joachim Andersen's availability on whether I start 8 Nori at Leicester next week or not. So yeah, they're both on chopping blocks for me. I kind of regret the Semenyo move. It's not often I do. And listen, he might do very well on Monday night, but it's not impressed me. And that inward feeling I think is more important. So yeah, Semenyo's a chopping block for me, but great fixture this week for both of them. Ethan Justin says, hey James, you legend, on double Bournemouth attack currently with Evan Nilsson and Semenyo. Should I be moving one on? Is Evan Nilsson to Isak an easy move, or Semenyo to Odegaard? Cheers. I don't think Odegaard's in the best Arsenal 3, in my opinion. It's debatable for 5 actually. So I wouldn't want to go to Odegaard. Amazing player. He's decent at his value. I just think that there's better ways to invest in Arsenal personally. The Isak move will certainly tempt, mate. But it does feel the wrong time to get rid of Evan Nilsson before West Ham at home that will be missing. Evan Nilsson means Wan-Bissaka possibly moving to left back, which by the way might be bad news for Semenyo owners as well, because he's a good 1v1 defender, Wan-Bissaka. And I think with Tavernier's injury, I think Utara comes in, probably plays on the left. I'd like to see Semenyo, actually, although I prefer him on the right, I'd like to see him play against Soufal this week. Matt Lackin says, hi James, Lewis and Bumo out for Trent and Semenyo -4. Any other options at below 6 million you'd consider? This feels like a -4 for Trent, therefore I don't particularly like it, mate. Any other options below 6 million in what the midfield bracket? I mean, Enzo Fernandez is one, subject to what's already been covered about Chelsea. Timing doesn't feel right for anything else. So I get from the timing perspective, it does still feel like Bournemouth, and that's okay. Just I've not been thrilled with it at all. Kluivert is another alternative. They're a good side. But I do feel like those returns are getting shared around quite a bit. That's how I think it's going to continue to feel, I think, from a fantasy perspective. Joe Pickle says, best midfield of 5.5 and under, thinking Kluivert, Enzo, Diblin already have Rodgers. Lean towards Enzo myself, but would block Jackson, have Colwell, Palmer. Yeah, this is the problem, isn't it? It's like you could look at it now and you could think, that's fine, I don't want Jackson. But let's be realistic about this, right? I'm going to guess there's a good chance, Matt, you've got you've got Alexander Isak, right? If Alexander Isak was to get injured this week, who you want to buy next week? The answer's probably Jackson, subject to if he was to get another yellow card. Don't block yourself from that. That's the advice. I actually quite like still investing in Diblin and then just going, right, that's my 8th attacker. He's going to sit on the bench every week and spread the money as well as possible. There's a difference between having a Diblin. I know people say, get stronger lineups for Christmas and stuff. Their fixtures are actually all right. I've got Southampton 6th on my ticker now over the next 5 game weeks. You would imagine that he's going to play every game, surely. I know he did have a period where he got dipped back out the team, but he's back in it now. Surely he's going to stay in the team. I'm pretty happy for anyone who wants to invest in Tyler Diblin. But I think you are looking at it as a substitute. I will add on playing him this week. It's perfectly reasonable. Shout out Uros Milicevic. Hope you're well. Excuse me. Tom Jansen says, hi James. Chush, you had a great time in Scotland, but back to business now. Trent Enzo for Porro Semenyo for a -4. No, I mean, that doesn't feel right in terms of right now, mate. Just a shout out thanks for that, Billy. FPL Focal, who's brilliant content creator, as we know, shared at 12:29 that he'd had a message saying that it's a fitness test for Gabriel today. I don't think that's anything kind of new, but I appreciate you sharing that, Billy. So he's in contention. The understanding with Gabriel was that he probably did train yesterday. Tom, I'm not a big fan of that -4. I mean, the reality is, Porro and Semenyo have got great fixtures this week, mate. TS says, is Brennan fine to start given he was substituted early in the last 2 games? And do you see this as a high-scoring game due to absence of VVD and Romero? I've got it back as a 1-1, mate. I think there's every chance Southampton beat us. It's not me, negative Tottenham shit. I mean, just look at the team. Look at the team. I do think Johnson probably starts, yeah. It's probably Maddison played the 90s, so that's probably the easiest one to to leave out again. So probably, yeah, Kulusevski 10, Johnson right, Son left, and Solanke back through the middle, I should imagine. Fire says, hi James, start Van Heck or Konsa. Van Heck preference, and start Bumo or Semenyo. Bumo, Pen. And I think most Chelsea fans would even say, yeah, just play Bumo. Hasselbank's win. James, are Chelsea building something serious? Estevao next summer and a young dynamic team with a manager who looks the real deal. How far can the project go? That's a young Brazilian talent, isn't it? Can't profess that I know a lot about him. Yeah, I mean, looks that way. I've not really got anything to add on what you said, mate. Billy Taylor said, good Arvo, Jay Lins, happy birthday. Ignore if on the benching dilemmas, but one has to be benched out of João Pedro, Johnson, Cunha and Semenyo. Currently thinking Pedro, but who should it be and why? Semenyo is the one I've been least impressed with from a fancy perspective. That's it. Pedro and Cunha I've got in the top 10 for captaincy. Johnson above Semenyo, I think it's fairly straightforward. So yeah, Semenyo, mate. Sorry, I'm just reading a message. Cool. Cheers, Ricky. If you're watching live, love you, mate. James Brennan says, hi James, would you start Licha? Fuck's Licha, mate, or Pinnock? Who's Licha, mate? Captain Palmer, if that changes anything. Ignore if on the bench in dilemmas. Have a great week. Who's Licha? Someone's gonna, don't put it in the chat, please, because by the time I read it, I've long forgotten. I don't know who Licha is. I can't answer your question, James. Sorry. Licha. I don't know who that is, mate. Chris Randall, do I go cheaper to deal with Pope injury, Henderson other goalkeeper, and use money elsewhere, or is there a keeper worth spending on, only 0.4 in the bank, or I guess third option, just wait it out? Yeah, get Fabianski and just play Henderson most weeks, mate. Rhett says, hey James, currently on Saka, Salah, Palmer, like most. When do you foresee the template changing off of these three premiums? Gameweek 29. Or injury. Shree MC says, morning James, any news to rumour Porro benched? Okay, let's be really, really careful here. If people are reading because what I've done as the rumour, I'll be very careful with that. It's just me sharing an opinion on something that I feel. That is it. Let's not be doing that. If you've seen something from somewhere else, I haven't seen it. Love you even more, Ricky. Just give me thumbs up if we're still doing Everton, yeah? So, no. Probably. Listen, he'll get on the pitch anyway. He's not going to be a sub and stay a sub. If he is a sub, he'll play last half hour or so, and he'll probably be very offensive under that circumstance. Ian PTSD says, same question as last week. Where would Milenkovic be on the benching dilemma? Yeah, I mean, it's really tough fitting all the players in that I'd wanted to this week. I'm backing him for a clean sheet this week. So I think, although I'm backing that, it would be just after Porro and probably above Kirkes. That's where I'd be, I think. Next up is JP. Do you expect Frank to low block and counter versus Chelsea, or stick with his new play style? I'm surprised other teams have low blocked Chelsea this season. I think they might go to a back five. Tom Med spoke about that on Clash of Correspondence. The predicted lineup I've got is essentially a 5-3-2 for Brentford. But in terms of out and out low block, no, probably not. My toast says Chi James Komaya to -4. Visser and Vardio to Isak and Colwell, or Delap and Vardio to Isak and 4.4. Yeah, I mean, good timing to move on Visser, so that's fine. Also feels like time to be moving on Delap as well, arguably. Mind Wolves away this week's fine. Yeah, I'd move Visser on, go that path, mate. Biddy Taylor says, I heard a rumour that if you smash a like, that you'll hit over 100 points this game week, and everyone will find you instantly more attractive. Huge if true. Some people might not want to be more attractive, Billy. Just bear that in mind. Greg Frost says, hit that like, subscribe, and join the Patreon. Cheers, Greg. Yeah, if you want to support the show, keep the lights on. It's www.patreon.com/planetfpl. Haswald says, hi, James, Bumo, and Jimenez. To Enzo and Isak for free and no brainer. Enjoy your weekend. Yeah, it's fine. Just again to repeat the message about blocking yourself for free Chelsea. Andy Max says, hi James, good luck for the game week. Would you buy Alisson or Raya? Plan to use triple captain on Salah in Gameweek 24. If it happens. So don't need to use the Arsemanship on slot. Cheers, mate. Well, no, not anytime soon, but you might find you still want to use it on slot in 33 or 36, for example. Probably Alisson. Purely because I'd probably rather than having a Van Dijk or a Trent, I'd probably arguably rather have the combo of Gabriel Timber with Alisson at the moment. So that's my answer. But it might depend on terms of how much money you'd have left for the defence, because then that's quite a lot going there. Otherwise, just still Raya. Brunton says start Bumo on Madueke or sell one for Gordon and start him. I think Madueke would be near enough best 1 week punt going this week. And the reason I say that is his literal 1 week punt, isn't it? Because next week Neto might be back in the team for him. But with Neto suspended, I don't think there's any reason to think Madueke doesn't start. So that's absolutely ideal for this week. So yeah, play Madueke, mate. Martin Cumberland says Saliba at Hall. Can't afford Saliba, but lack of clean sheets generally makes me think go cheap. I would be prioritising getting Arsenal defensive sorted, Martin. Jordan Murphy says selling Watkins this week and debating between Jackson or Isak. Isak has great fixtures, but Chelsea's form has me leaning towards Jackson. Do you think team form outweighs a good fixture run? They've both got good fixture runs, mate. I mean, Isak is shorter term though, right? So Isak next 2, amazing. Chelsea next 7, amazing. Isak talisman, slightly over Gordon. Jackson not talisman. Cole Palmer is. Palmer obviously at risk in Jackson obviously at risk in terms of the 4 yellows as well. For me, I'm buying Isak at this minute. I'd be buying Isak for next 2, and then if I wasn't happy with that, I'd be going Jackson in 18. And it's easier to go that way than then back Jackson to Isak. You won't. Chances are you won't. Ash Buckley sounds like he wants to go Palmer captain. Wish you luck. Johnny Ballgame says, what chance Kwanzaa gets another league start during the festive period? Yeah, every chance, mate. Good luck guessing when. Jacko says, Munoz or Dunk? Is this to start? Dunk, based on the fixture. Gavin Richardson, I'm quite happy with my team over the coming month, but we'll be looking to move on 8 Nori, Hall, Semenyo, Cunha, and Greaves longer term. What good jump off points and to whom would you recommend? Bloody hell, mate. Greaves pretty much any time. Hall, I think, is probably a longer term keep. 8 Nori next week or the week after. Semenyo next week. Cunha next week or the week after. Dragos B says, hi James, start 2. Semenyo, Evan Ilson, Wood, the 2 strikers, mate. Rake says, hi mate, hope you and the fam are well. Boomer has only 1 return in away games this season. Would you replace him with Enzo or Roll? Was thinking of observing Enzo 1 more time before committing. That's fine if you want to do that. Then what, you're going to sell Boomer when he's at home to Nottingham Forest next week? You won't be observing for 1, mate. You'll be observing for 2. It's fine, right? And on the face of it, would I rather have Boomer in my team than Enzo Fernandez? Yeah, it's easy to forget at the moment that Boomer's done incredibly well this year. I think this is a perfect point to be selling, personally. And I think you can go Enzo Fernandez and you'll find that money's in the bank, and then you can start talking about Isaks, Jacksons, whatever you haven't got from them. Sean Limbrick says, what is your plan? What would it be to get Haaland back, James? On the verge of selling as don't own Saka, but worried I would have to rip my team up to get him back. Thanks as always. Good luck for the game week. You ain't coming back, mate, unless Salah gets injured. Simple as that. Can't see it. Yeah, if Saka or Palmer gets injured, we're looking at different players. Doesn't work for me to break the structure of my team to get Haaland in. So it's literally only if Salah gets injured, Haaland's coming back. Otherwise, there is no plan. Later in the season, doubles, stuff like that's a different matter. But this brilliant 5-game run that City have from Gameweek 18, yeah, cool, great. Chelsea, Arsenal, Liverpool, and others have great runs as well. So no, he's not going back, mate. That's it. FPL Ibro says, hey James, good luck this game. I have 2 transfers. Would you use 1 to transfer out Jackson for Isak or Roll? I wouldn't make that sort of move. I'd stick with Jackson, mate. Andrew Peake says, bench 8 Nori or Hall. For me, 8 Nori. I think there's a strong possibility of a Newcastle clean sheet this week, despite every chance that Nick Pope not playing. I just think, I know Leicester scored 5 in the 2 games under Van Nistelrooy so far, but I'm not quite sure how. Yes, there was a high XG in the end against West Ham, but many of them chances came after 2-0. and they were very low on XG prior to scoring Jamie Vardy. I think it was 0.3 when Jamie Vardy got the consolation goal against Brighton last week. So they've got midfield problems as well. No Samari, no Ndidi. I see them getting overrun in that area, to be honest, this week. So I'd be starting Hall first and foremost because Wolves can't defend. My honest take earlier in the week was bench 8 Norrie. It's more of a, I probably prefer 8 Norrie to Porro now. So, yeah, I mean, Hall is kind of like on the floor in the sense you're not expecting more than a 6, but I'm kind of expecting it to be a 6, whereas 8 Norrie and Porro feel more like they're likely to be 1s or 2s, is the more likely. And 6 points at the moment for a defender is an incredible return. I think most of us have learned that. So I want to play Lewis Hall. And Odin, sorry if I mispronounced that, mate. Odin Gilmore says, looking for a Boomer replacement, 1 free transfer so could hold off this week if necessary. 6 million or less, avoiding Enzo to keep third Chelsea slot available. Unfortunately, timing-wise, it does still feel like Bournemouth. I would consider Tyler Dibbling, but I don't think there's much point doing Boomer to Dibbling unless you're doing the other move as well at the same time. So maybe it's a carry on and then move in 18. You might also find that once you've got to game week 18, you might find that Diogo Jota is your answer. Also, Gordon, next 2. So Boomer to Gordon for 2. Then on to Jota. I understand you're saying you obviously want to come down cheaper. For me, it's still the candidates of Semenyo, Kluivert, Rodgers, Enzo Fernandez, or right down to Dibbling. Don't think we're missing anything in there that's, oh yeah, Fulham, Iwobi's doing great. Yeah, it's Liverpool away. Like, no. And I'm not keen on that anyway. Mark says, hi James, do you think it's worth a -4 hit to sell Bruno Fernandes and Greaves or Mikalenko for Trent and Enzo/Rodgers, or risk that Gabriel is not playing and have Mikalenko, Grealish on the bench? Grealish, blimey. I mean, I'd just prioritise moving Jack Grealish on, mate. What's that doing now? It's just going to be a pain. It's kind of like the Rico Lewis thing, right? It's just going to be a pain in the arse every week, I think. So I'd be prioritising moving Jack Grealish on. My instinct is that Gabriel will play, right? Yes, Ricky. Let's get the train sorted this afternoon, mate. Mark says, hi James, that's what I've done. I think Gabriel will play, Mark. I'm confident in that. I think if you train, you still play, man. Generic says, oh no, we've lost our place in the chat, and someone just lifted my balls at the same time by the sounds of my voice. Sorry. Generic, I got you. Thinking of an Iwobi punt, false. Perfect timing. It's a strong no from me, mate. He's probably going to spend a lot of today playing right back, mate. Zubi says, hello James, question for the future. Do you see 3 times Palace being viable from game week 21 onwards? Eze, Munoz and Henderson. I've got them game week 21 to 25. I've got them third on my ticker over that period. Good little run. Leicester away, West Ham away, Brentford at home, United away, Everton at home. Don't know if it's that great for the defensive ones. So 2 away games, Brentford at home, United away. Double defence. I'm not sure you do. 1, fine. And Eze, Mateta. I mean, Rory on Clash of Correspondence on Friday, he spoke quite highly about Ismail Sarr's prospects. And that's a name, for those who are looking in the sort of the under 6 million budget. Yeah, but I mean, that timing of that just feels wrong. Brighton, Arsenal, Bournemouth, next 3. Maybe another one to look at in game week 19, perhaps. But I don't think I'd want double defence of Palace, mate. What no graphics says, hello James, I've Trent, Van Dijk and Gabriel, but would you start 8 Norrie over Gabriel this week? Even if Gabriel starts, he might not play 60 minutes. Wouldn't really give a shit, mate. I've got the best defence against probably the worst defence. What you can do? Well, Gabriel might do this, that and the other. Do you know what else he might do, mate? He might rock up with a 15-pointer. I'll definitely be playing him, mate. Gavin says, in Glasgow, who got the most drunk out of you and your dad, and what was the most fried things you ate? Oh, crap. If you're thinking it was deep fried Mars bars or anything like that, no, it never crossed my mind, actually. The most fried thing I think I ate was a hash brown. Yeah, that's got to be the right answer, I think. Who was most drunk? Wednesday night, both of us. Went in this bar for a couple of drinks, watched Juventus Man City, and then that was going to be it. And It's 4 hours later. Regrettable. That was a really good night. Russell Glenn says, hi James, would you consider a bench boost this week with Fabianski, Milenkovic, Huijsen and Enzo Fernandez on the bench? 13 players all have home games. Currently ranked 6.5k. Best of luck for the game week. Look, one thing that's really, really key on this, Russell, is if you've got Gabriel, it's a definite no. If you've got like a Gabriel, you've got a Nick Pope, anybody in there that could be someone who does not start, that's no. Definitely. So you need to consider that. If you're looking at your 11, you're like, yeah, do you know what? I'm like as close as I can be. You can never be 100%, obviously. But as close to 100% in all your players that you've got starting. I don't mind that. I don't mind that. I'm just looking at a couple of forthcoming weeks, and I did say that there would be a small group of people that would land here and want to bench boost in game week 16. I'm surprised it's not been more, really. I don't mind it, and especially as well, Russell, if you haven't used any chips yet, I don't mind it. I don't mind it. It could, I'll be honest, that could easily be like 7-8 points and that's it. You need a clean sheet in there, I think, and you probably do want an attacking return. I wouldn't see them all going off. It doesn't feel as strong as, say, my game week 1 bench boost, but I'm possibly a little bit tempted here because I fancy Forest to maybe keep a clean sheet today. That's not what the majority would stay, I don't think. Would many truly fancy Bournemouth for a clean sheet? You're not expecting one from West Ham. Fernandez doing really well. It's tempter. I think you've got to be so confident, Russell. And I think if you've got any doubt, it's a no, because there will be other opportunities. That's probably the best way I can say it. But good luck, whatever you decide, mate. Shout out FPL Tiger. Hope you well. Joe Pickle, is Ange angling for a way to get out? Having debate last night in the pub seems odd to throw player under the bus like that. No, it's not, mate. No, he's desperate to succeed. He's definitely not angling for that, mate. Because, listen, all he needs to do at the moment is really piss that squad off or piss the chairman off and he'll get his payout, right? So that's definitely not the way he's angling for it, mate. He could go in there and start making some outlandish demands to the chairman, right? He'll get himself removed, no problem. Gary Halliwell says, start Semenyo or Bowen. I just wouldn't be confident benching a player like that, mate. Probably starts as the 9 again. J Max says, what is your thinking behind Salah cap? I can't decide. All odds checkers, FPL review, Rob T and bookies of Chelsea and Palmer above Salah and Liverpool. Cool. Go that then. I'm saying, and this has kind of been my philosophy since I put him in, I need a really good reason to go against. I would suggest that Palmer against Brentford is a very good reason. He has the better fixture. But I do think that you're looking at Fulham without their first choice centre-backs, both of them. Cuenca plays his first big game, basically, for Fulham today. Left-sided centre-back. I don't know how well that's going to go. But at some point, Mo Salah's going to land in that area. I think for Liverpool win. I also think it's way more unlikely at the moment that Salah just kind of misses rather than, say, Palmer. Like, I feel like Chelsea could get free and there might not be anything for Palmer. That feels incredibly unlikely with Liverpool at the moment. So, yeah, listen, it's quite clear that a lot of people favour Palmer this week, and that's absolutely fine. For me, I'm going Liverpool. I'm reading into the narrative of the suspension, and he specifically. Let's be serious about this for a moment. He's obviously hauled brilliant last week, right? And he's very capable of doing that. We've seen that. But he's got 2 penalties because of 2 dumb decisions. And his assist comes from a blocked shot. Now, in different circumstances, there's no penalty. The blocked shot goes somewhere different. And he ends up, with a 2-pointer? And are we all sitting here this confident? I don't think Brentford will be giving him 2 penalties tomorrow. Yes, tomorrow. So, no, I'm going with Mo, mate. Joachim Gunner says, hi James, benching dilemma. Gamble on Jacob Murphy minutes. We'll start Rodgers instead. Cheers. How have you got Jacob Murphy? Now, Someone fucking time warped me back 4 months in time, I think. God, you're there though. Jesus. How? I think Murphy plays, yeah. I mean, he kind of is game week 1 all over again. Yeah, I mean, I probably would play Jacob Murphy, yeah. Patrick Cliver, probably not that one, says, hi, mate, was in the home end on Thursday. How do you attend so many aways when your club's away support is that pathetic? Fair play to you, mate. Worst somewhat I've ever heard. Good luck this week, bud. Yeah, the support's a bit of a mess at the moment. I'm not going to profess that Tottenham's travelling away atmosphere is great at the moment. There's also mass negativity around the club. And I imagine everyone did their sing-song Wednesday night from what I was seeing, mate. Ramiz says, who's winning the league? Arsenal. Rhett says, very important question, James. Did you prefer Joanna Lumley or Jennifer Saunders? Oh. I'm gonna go Joanna Lumley. Although for this weekend specifically Jennifer Saunders, and if you know, you know. Michael O'Hare says, hi James, I'm having the worst season I ever had at about 6 million. Feel like I'm in a funk with no transfers, etc. going correctly. Any tips for getting back on track? Always appreciate your advice. Well, you got given a chip this week that might give you like another 50-60 point gain. So that's beneficial. Yeah, stick at it, mate. You don't have to keep swinging against the template at this stage, because I think the template's fixtures are too strong. There'll be other opportunities to do that. So don't think, I can't go to this player because everyone's got them. Listen, at that rank, just by points, you will start climbing, mate. Mark McGrath says, Greaves and Keane on my bench. Excuse me. 0.5 in the bank with 1 free transfer. Which 4.5 million defender do you recommend for this next 6 game weeks? Excuse me. Levi Colwell would be my first choice. Jerry Dama U says, hello Jimbo, I did Greaves and Watkins to Kirkes and Isak as planned. Start 2 from Hall, Kirkes and 8 Norrie. I'd bench Kirkes, mate. Sultan Saeed says, hey James, 2 free transfers. Dunk to Trent, Boomo to Enzo, triple Chelsea attack. Means no Isak as well. Thoughts? Yeah, look, I'm not going to repeat the stuff on the Chelsea free and potentially cutting you off the defensive in case you want it. Yeah, I did think that, Gary, that it might have been Lisandro Martinez, but I'm not into like nicknames of clubs that I don't support. So yeah, cool. Waves. I can't remember the question now, but cheers, Gary. Can't remember that question that I just read out either. Yeah, it's fine, Sultan, if that's what you fancy, mate. Felix says, hey James, free transfers. Boomo, Lewis, Fleck and 2, Dibbling, Trent, Allison, or just use 2 for Trent, Enzo. Are they free transfers? They are, aren't they? What about Kepa as an alternative to spending that money on Allison? Just consider that one, maybe. Yeah. Himanshu says, hey James, good evening and thanks for the content. What do you think about Boomer to Enzo, Aina to Trent? You know, I think it's personal preference, right? Ultimately, this comes down to this. Could Enzo Fernandez be a brilliant 5 million asset? Yep. Could Trent be an absolutely brilliant asset? Yep. Essentially, the answer to this question doesn't come... If you're asking me, I'm probably committing to a path that's going to be no Trent. And also probably committing to a path that's going to be no Enzo Fernandez. So, if you're asking me, you're going to get a little bit of bias in the answer. If you are happy with that structure, please go ahead. That's it. If you're happy with that structure, please proceed. That's going to be the same answer. George von Schreiber says, hi James, already got Enzo for Boomo. Better to use funds this week and get Trent, or play 8 Norrie or Hall and have 2 frees next week. Other defenders, Gabriel, Timber, Anderson. I mean, yeah, you don't need to force Trent in this week. That's the bottom line. Johan O'Donovan says, looking at Mikolenko replacements, only 4.3 available. Hoyson or Dragashin are my options. Who would you buy? Either or someone else? Gee whiz, James. What do you think? I mean, I reckon, I'm just going to put this out there. Someone's going to go, hey, I'm going to prove a point and say no, James. But I reckon that's the only time I'll get asked about Radu Dragashin all of this season. The answer's very straightforward. It'd be Hoyson, mate. Vivek Gore says, bench 1 of Trent. No. Gabriel, 8 Norrie, Hall and Johnson. Okay. Reluctantly from that, Rayan 8 Norrie. Thank you very much, JP. Marcus Anselm says, happy birthday, have a like, all the best for the weekend. Thank you. Yeah, if you think, you want to say happy birthday, James, Smash the like then, people. Is about 25% of you have done it. We are 17 minutes from deadline, guys. If you haven't submitted your question yet, I would suggest there's absolutely no chance I'm going to get round to you, and there's a good chance I'm not going to get to many of you anyway, but I will try. Finley Scanlon says, Delap to who after this week? 6.7 for that transfer. After this week, wrong week for Evan Nilsson, feels like. Might be back to Raul Jimenez. Could be. Little Rasmus Højlund for 2 games and chain it on, maybe, or 3 games, chain it on. Watch that performance tomorrow, maybe. Jack says, I'm looking to move Smith Rowe out and have 3 million in the bank. Should I look to upgrade or simply drop down to Enzo? I want to get Diogo Jota in. So again, there's bias in my answers because buying Jota right now is not the solution, right? But would I be tempted to look at something else for the 3 game weeks or so? Yeah, to be honest, at that value, I'm still arguably buying Brennan Johnson. Brennan will tick over, no doubt. You'll find him possibly a difficult sell in Gameweek 19. That's all. So at the moment in the short term, arguably still Brennan Johnson, which you won't want to look at against Liverpool next week, but. Yeah, ironically, we might cause them some trouble. Jerry says, I know this is 1 week earlier, but with Van der Ven and Romero out injured, is Salah the main standout captaincy versus Spurs away next game week, considering his record against Big Six? Yeah, he is. It's not. For me, there's no doubt about that. Palmer's at Everton. Yeah. Saka's at Palace. Isak's away to Ipswich. Boomer's at Forest. Haaland's at Villa. Yeah, I'll be very surprised if I don't captain Mo Salah next week, yeah. Cloudy Sky Fantasy Football Show in Paris says, birthday greetings from down under, mate. From down under? What are you doing down there? Good trip, mate. Thoughts on assistant manager? Is it Allardyce or Guardiola? I don't think I'll be using it on Allardyce. I'm going to be really honest. I said this on the Team News stream for advanced tier patrons as well. I haven't even read the rules yet. I pretty much know them because I've heard enough about them, but I've really not looked at it. You can't use it till Game Week 24, so there's plenty of time to talk it through. Gary, yes, start borrowing. Treble says, I'm on Palmer captain, but I really want to captain Haaland and pray it pays off. God, I hate Derby Day. I mean, do what you want. But preference would be Palmer between the two. Ironically, yeah, we've come some way here, haven't we? Again, a reminder to our patrons, if we've got any leaks going around, please double check sources. Drop me a tag on Slack and we'll get the message shared with the community. Ian from Melbourne, shout out downstairs, hope you're well. Shout out downstairs, hope you're well. Ian from Melbourne, hello James, hope you're in the family, looking forward to Christmas. Sorry I haven't been here for a while. Have you heard any update on Anderson of Fulham? I like him as a cheap defender long term. All good, Ian, I hope you are too, buddy. Anderson is a no for this weekend. Could be back as early as next week, and if Marco Silva gives the green light, that's probably why I'm buying for Pedro Porro, I think, next week. Uros Milicevic says, would you start one of Hall or 8 Nori over Robertson? No, I think Robertson will probably play. John, for captaincy, there's a ticker on the screen, and which shows you. I'm gonna press a button, just in case you can't see it. There it is. There's my preferences for captaincy right there on the screen for you. Mooman, great name, great man. Mooman. Hi James. Porro to Timber on a free. Robinson, my 4th defender. If Porro were to not start, come on. Thanks for all you do for the community. Again, to repeat, I really hope people aren't using my team selection as the Pedro Porro rumour here. I really hope not. You're very welcome, and yes, by Timber all day. I've been saying that for weeks. Happy with that. Howard Green, another role for me. Happy birthday, James. Smash the like, hit the subs. Thank you, Howard. Have a good weekend. Birdie Junior says, Watkins to Isak or Jackson? No, I already have Gordon. I'll be going Isak, mate, personally. Sorry, just keeping an eye on a few things. Not in the shares yet. Next up, Shano PAFC says, good day, James. Good luck this week. I'm taking out Concert. Can I have your thoughts on best option out of Gomez or Hall as replacement? Thank you. Gomez. I mean, I presume you don't mean Toti Gomez of Wolves, but you might do. Or do you mean Joe Gomez of Liverpool? That's too boring. The answer either way would be Lewis Hall. Heather says, hey James, best cheap goalkeeper for the week and for going forward. Let's say Kepa. Timing is right. Let's go with that. Matthew North, good day mate. Next week I'm thinking Cunha and Solanke to Isak Jackson and Raul Jimenez. Sure mate. Dan says, many happy returns, legend. Where would Flecken be on benching dilemmas for you, especially versus Flappy? Cheers and smash that like, folks. They're both there, are they not? Oh no, Flecken's not in fairness. Flecken be at the end, buddy. Be after Flappy. Emiras says, can you please help with this? Cunha and Bruno to Enzo and Isak for -4 faults. No, I just would be so reluctant to sell Cunha this week. Personally. That's my take. Eddie R says, hey James, 2 free transfers, nothing in the bank. At the moment I'm playing Dean for one last hurrah with Vandenberg on the bench. Would you sell Dean Lewis to someone this week or roll for 3 free transfers next week? Cheers. Yeah, I'd be selling Lewis for Colwell, Hoyson, something like that. That's what I would be doing if it was me personally. Mark says, bench one of Bruno Semenyo or Pedro Semenyo. Mayor Sharma, thoughts on Sunny captain, feeling hatty. Yeah. Yeah, I'm not keen, mate. I mean, does it not speak volumes to you that we're playing Southampton? It never even occurred to me to put him on the top 10. I'm not sure he'd make the top 20. I'd have been scraping down people like Maduekis and Enzo Fernandez would both be ahead of him. There's other players, Anthony Gordon. I'd be scraping other teams. Players, Cody Gakpo's, Luis Diaz's, whoever I thought was going to play for Liverpool. Luis Diaz, decent shout. I'd be scraping through all them before I went Heung-min Son, mate. I hope I'm wrong. I hope he does great tomorrow. No from me. Ash, I've got the idea that that's what you want to do. Good luck. I got you, Shane. No probs. Sazan says Evan Nilsson will outscore Isak this week with the big muscle emoji. Gary, I've done this a few times, mate. Please don't do repetitive questions, just holding up other people. It's not really fair. FPL Gold Galazzo says, good afternoon, FPL top advisor. Keep up the great work. Smash the like button. You max. Baby Vig, other than João Pedro, which attacking Brighton player should I consider transferring in? My opinion on that is none. If I had to gamble, Rutter also falls into that under 6 million category of players can consider. But I think you'll want to move it again in a couple of weeks, so I wouldn't bother. The Blubber King says, hi James, I only have Rico and Nidakovic for cover of Gabriel. 2 free transfers. Do I do Rico to Colwell? Yep, all day long, mate. Yep. Yeah, just do the one Colwell, mate. A Menon says, start Semenyo or Enzo. It's Semenyo slightly for me. NMR11 says, hi James, I'm tempted to start dibbling over Rodgers. Is this just my negative Spurs bias? It might be, but I don't particularly hate it. I don't hate it. If you want to do that, I don't mind. JR says, hi James, what is your reasoning for Salah? I've covered that. Thank you for your question. Matthew says, start Rodgers or Rutter. Sazan, Madueki, start. Yeah, about 90% I'd say, mate. Abdullah says, hi James, bench Boomer or Rodgers. Gary says, happy birthday, thanks Gary. FPL developer, hi James, is Trent back best defender for next 3 game weeks, or would you look elsewhere? I've only Gabriel from Arsenal defence, thanks. Listen, Trent better be the best defender over any period at what he costs, mate. That's the reality. David James Whiteway says, hi James, last week took out Bumo, Haaland and Jimenez for Palmer, Jackson and Watkins captain. Move on Watkins, mate. Gary, nah, I've had enough of you, Gary. Sorry, mate. My DMs are open if you want to take it up, but that's the end of your questions on this channel, mate. Child Dude says, hi James, Bumo and Visser to Enzo and Isak, exact money. Yep, cool. Same reminder about free Chelsea. Jerry W, happy birthday. Thanks for the content. Very welcome. Cuzzy says, start 2 of Kudos, Pedro, Evan Nilsson, 2 forwards, mate. Michael says, Enzo or Cliver. Enzo, but repetitive on the free Chelsea stuff. Andrew Brown, any love for the Doc short term? From Lewis, can't get to Rain 8 Norrie. Ask a Wolves fan, just ignore them, mate. FPL Ebro says, hey James, good luck this week. Have 2 transfers. Do you think it's worth getting Isak for Jackson? No. I mean, it might be. I can't see the future, but I just wouldn't move Jackson if I owned him. Michael Bianchi says, hi James, would you go Visser to Isak from -4? Thanks. Yeah, I probably would. Neil says, hi James, good luck this week. Hit the like, people. Thank you. Matthew North, do you expect 3 double game weeks this season? Yes. Yeah. 24 if that happens. 33, 36. Nabil PM says, with Neto out, it does depend who does well in the cup, so it might be a fourth one. Nabil PMs and Weber. Nabil PM says, with Neto out, Madueke is a solid option. Then Enzo, I already have Jackson. I'm not expecting returns from Chelsea defence. Yeah, Madueke is a decent option for this week, but it's a problem afterwards, I think. I think Neto and Sancho got the favouritism. Cuzzy, I've done it. I've just muted someone else who asked the same question multiple times. Tracy Rhodes says, hi James, is it worth bringing in a Dubravka and is it silly to have no Arsenal this week? We've got no information on Pope in terms of how long he's out, so please don't consider that. Please get Arsenal. Jerry Thomas Hughes says, is Jermaine Defoe the most underrated Premier League forward of the 21st century with the existence of Henry, Rooney, Kane, Aguero, Drogba, Ronaldo and even Haaland? I'm sure you could put plenty of names in that. I love JD. Nemanja says, if you had this defence, Gabriel, Nori, Lewis, Mikalenko and Greaves, 3 free transfers, 3 million, what would you do? Mikalenko to Trent, an obvious transfer, or get Timber maybe? Mikalenko to Timber all day long. That's what I'd be doing. Ryan says, who do you start between Udogi, Konsa and Kirkes? Out of that lot, God, madness, but arguably Udogi, you know. Think so. I got Porro just above Kirkes. Porro's obviously a little bit more of a ceiling in terms of what he can be. I mean, the same applies to Udogi as it applies to Porro in terms of a chance of a rest maybe tomorrow. Yeah, maybe Kirkes then. Maybe Kirkes. Dan J. Porter, hi James. What is the thinking behind Nori over Kirkes, Colwell and benching dilemmas, mate? Upside. I think they probably all concede. FPL Focal saying Gabriel's been seen with a squad. Anfield Insights saying Gakpo starts. I do have him in my predicted Liverpool 3. I haven't got Nunes missing out this week. So there you go. Gabriel has been spotted with the squad. I don't think that's a surprise particularly. And neither is speculation that Gakpo starts for Liverpool. We are 5 minutes from deadline, guys. Thanks for that, Billy. So let's be getting teams locked in. I'm just going to try and keep an eye on messages potentially at the moment as well. Thanks for that, Billy. J-Mac, literally is Lisandro Martinez. People assume that everyone knows nicknames of players. Yeah, cool. Got that now. Thank you. To be honest, the Nori, Kirkes, Colwell is like a scaling of their potential going forward. That's it. And their fixtures in terms of the quality of the opponent and their ability to score as well. Odan Gilmore says, hi James, looking for a Boomer replacement, 1 free transfer, so could wait until next week. Not Enzo is trying to keep third Chelsea spot, 6 million or less. Yeah, I see. Here's the problem. I think the best Boomer replacements in terms of right now for this week are forwards and defenders, not midfielders. So I think it's hold. Hold for the minute. Arabia Felix Gaming start Fernandes or Evan Nilsson. Evan Nilsson. FPL Rory would like to say hello to everyone. Hello. Hazem says hello James. What moves do you prefer? Haaland and Rodgers to Salah and Wood, or Haaland, Rodgers and Gabriel to Salah, Isak and Hyson -4. Wouldn't be removing Arsenal defence, so that makes that fairly straightforward, mate. Is that FPL Harry in the chat? No, I don't believe it is. Harry would be doing his own stream. He ain't here. He ain't here messaging me. No chance. Let's check you out. Let's check you out. Yeah. Yeah, I'm not having that, mate. Bye-bye. I can see how many subscribers you've got. Bye-bye. Right, it's 2 minutes to deadline, guys. So I'm going to go towards the end of the chat. That feels the sensible thing to do. Just see if there's any messages in here. Yes, Gary, I'd love Glasgow. It was brilliant, mate. Thank you, Heather. I see your message. Much appreciated. Just to see if we've got any chats from real people and not fake FPL Harrys. Doesn't look like it. Thank you, Neil Kager. Right, it's probably a couple more I can rattle through them, maybe. Where was I? Billy Mitoma. Hazema did yours. Eddie and his childs. Hi, James. Bench Enzo or Semenyo. Enzo reluctantly. Sushant, moving to midfield of Enzo Rogers with the freemium is allowing me to get Haaland in Gameweek 18 and fit all in. Could that be the pathway to have all four? Hate it. Sorry. If you want to play that way, play it that way. My personal opinion is I hate it. Co-Fun says, love you, man. Keep the good work. Always a pleasure to watch your content. Thank you. Appreciate that, mate. Tropical says, why do you think Gabriel will play? I don't trust Arteta's comments and haven't seen any evidence. Are you just trusting his word? I mean, the information seems to suggest that he trained yesterday. Also, I'm not that bothered with Porro sitting first sub. Fine, but I think he probably plays, mate. The information going around seems to suggest that he probably plays. Minute to deadline, guys. I don't think he wouldn't, Dan. So, yeah. Again, I'm just checking, just to see if we got any info going around. Doesn't appear that way at the moment. We are seconds from deadline, guys. Lewis, JG, I really don't believe that you've got that information, mate. We'll find out in 15 minutes and we'll just be blocking you if it's not correct. The man, the myth, the legend, love the Christmas sweater. There's nothing Christmas about this, I can tell you. Kevin says, James, love your content. Spurs question, which we'll do because we've hit deadline. I'm going to answer that in a minute, Kevin. If anybody has any non-FPL questions, please feel free to throw them in the chat and I'm happy to cover them off for 10-15 minutes or so. If you came just for the FPL stuff, smash a like, hit the sub button, be truly appreciated. Content next week, I can tell you. Game Review podcast on Monday. Tuesday will be the fan view with Bradley Parker on Wolves. It's not all well there, never mind just on the pitch, but off it as well. Clayton James show Wednesday. Cash your correspondence for you. Thursday's Aston Villa versus Manchester City with Lee Jackson and Johnny Pringle. Ask James Friday deadline stream. I think is next Saturday morning, isn't it? I think there's an early kickoff next week. Not that I can check FPL and see at this moment. I can. Yes, Villa Man City is the early kickoff next Saturday. So back to a 10 a.m. deadline stream next Saturday. If you want to support the show because you want to give me some money for my birthday or Christmas, please do so. It's www.patreon.com/planetfpl. Support the show because you want to support the show and help us keep the lights on, or because you would like access to our additional content, which is an additional podcast each weekday and additional video content from myself each weekday. Although tomorrow an extended version of Away Days for our advanced and intermediate plus tier patrons. I don't know how long it's going to be yet, but I think it's going to be well over half hour, I think, of me and my dad's out drinking in Hampden, in Celtic Park, in Ibrox, which I think the advanced and intermediate plus tiers will enjoy, and that's going to be out available tomorrow, actually. Podcast this week, I haven't fully decided yet, but it'll probably be Q&A Monday, quiz Tuesday, Tottenham Wednesday, Money in Football Thursday, and the Gameweek 17 preview podcast on Friday. I am conscious of trying to fit some content in somewhere about this mystery chip bollocks, but frankly, I also think it's that at the moment. That it's a bit of bollocks at the moment, and I don't think we need to rush the information. And my instinct, as you might have heard me say on this stream as well, is it's getting used around the double game week towards the end. So I don't think there's a rush on it. It would more be if we kind of want to do a piece saying, like, what do we think of it? My thoughts on it are that I don't care. I'm neither for it or against it. My personal opinion is that I think it's nonsensical for the average player who just wants to log in on a Friday and play the game. I don't understand it. And for me, that's their target market rather than us. From the engaged community and someone like me who's a strategist and a planner, it's probably good news. But I'm neither for it or against it. We knew they were going to do something that was going to divide opinion. People generally don't like new. So, yeah, it's fine. I don't have a problem with it. I'm not pro it. I'm not against it. It's just okay. That's what they've decided. Let's get on with it. I think for the growth of their game, I don't understand. Would be my point. But that's their problem, not mine. Right, let's do some non-FPL questions. By the way, I have decided, guys, what we got? Gameweek 17. I'm not doing a deadline stream for Gameweek 18. Fuck it. Like, I love you all and stuff, but it's Boxing Day and I'm spending time with the family. I think, probably. If I stay at my mum and dad's, I'm not doing a deadline stream. If I come home on Christmas Day night, which is relying on my missus not to have a drink, and I'm not going to deny her that, then I might still do it. But there will be one next week. Right, let's do the non-FPL stuff. I said I'd ask... someone had a question, a Tottenham question, didn't they? Kevin, sorry, mate. Kevin Maher. Thank you, mate. It says, James, love your content. Spurs question. Did your dad ever tell you any stories about Alfie Conn? I've just read his new book that came out. I was at the Leeds game when he sat on the ball. My dad's told me a lot of stories, but Alfie Conn's not a name that's come up massively. Tell us that book title. Not here in the chat, because I'll forget. Message me on Blue Sky or Twitter and say, "Oh, James, this is the book," because I didn't know there was one. And my dad generally will love shit like that. But no, I don't. Not many. I mean, it's a name that it's not a name that's played for Tottenham. I think since the 50s that wouldn't have got mentioned to me by my dad at some point. But there's not anything specific that I remember. Lewis is saying a talking wolves source. He's saying about Cunha potentially being benched. Is it a talking wolves source or is it just Boona up to his tricks? Andre, yes, I still think Arsenal win the league. Yeah, I do. Next up, Kariz says, how was Ibrox and what's the best worst European stadiums you've been to? Best worst. Best is the Bernabeu for me over Dortmund. I've been lucky. I've ticked the ones that I dreamt of doing as a kid. Those two. I mean, to be honest, I didn't dream of Dortmund as a kid, but it became one. It was like I want to go. San Siro, Camp Nou, Bayern Munich, done Atletico Madrid as well. Ajax. Did I ever tell you about this one time? And that is in the away days video as well. You'll see that, guys. Best is the Bernabeu of them. The worst it's got to be Slavia Prague's old stadium. I can't remember what it was called, but it would have to be that. It's just a fucking running track, no roof. It's like it was -6 in the city, but I don't know what the temperature was in the stadium because the stadium was like at the top of a mountain, and that's the coldest I've ever been at a football stadium by a mile. Yeah, Ibrox was good. Good atmosphere, particularly like the second half after Rangers scored. They really did turn the noise up. In all seriousness, I thought in the first half, and I understand this as well, by the way, because it's Europa League group stage, and I also understand Rangers have got a massive game tomorrow against Celtic. So you're not expecting like a Europa League group stage game to be the best atmosphere you've ever been to, so I understand that. But the first half atmosphere, I thought was good. I thought it was kind of like comparable to Newcastle, to be honest. Second half, when Rangers went in front, yeah, they really turned the noise up. It was good. It was really good. Yeah, so fair credit where it's due, because Newcastle wouldn't have an atmosphere like that for a Europa League group stage game. So, but I didn't doubt that. I'd said before going up there that I'm pretty confident that Rangers and Celtic would kind of put pretty much all the English atmospheres under the table, and no surprise whatsoever, mate. B Badgeworth says, just seen that Cunha bench tweet 10 seconds after the deadline. So this is genuinely spreading, is it, about this Cunha rumour? Yeah, I mean, he's not been flagged to me yet, so we'll see. Scott Alvarez, who's the greatest footballer of all time? Messi. Look, I can't compare him to Maradona and before, really. I can only talk my era. And in my era, zero doubt about it for me. Tommy Gonzo, thoughts on Saudi getting the 2034 World Cup? Boringly predictable, right? Yeah, I'm going to skip that, Tommy. Not because I kind of avoiding the question, but me and Clayton covered it on Wednesday's Clayton and James show, mate. So I just point you to there. We covered it for about 10 minutes there because we knew on Wednesday that announcement was going to be made on Wednesday. So, yeah, we covered it there. What you've said, yeah, boringly predictable, basically. A stitch up. The man, the myth, the legend. Lads, like and subscribe. Thank you, mate. Camrul says, do you think Spurs will go big in the January window? You kind of got to, right? I don't think we'll go big. I think it's going to be some investment. I mean, it's fairly clear. But I don't think we'll be going big. I'm just looking through Twitter and I still can't see none of this on Cunha. Genuinely, I wouldn't be surprised if it's nonsense. Literally seeing absolutely none. I'm sure there would be mass hysteria and panic going around on socials at the moment, and just looking through my timeline and no one's saying anything about it. So we'll see. We'll find out in 5 minutes. Campbell have done. Sweet Blue saying, look, Lewis, you've been done by a fake account, mate. There you go. Not surprised. Thank you, Victor. Jerry says, is Martin Jol Spurs' most underrated manager this century? Yeah, probably. I don't think people on the outside would remember it for any particular reason. I understand that. But he was the start of Tottenham, getting back into Europe, being close to fourth, more attractive football. He was the start of it. So there's a lot that I think many Tottenham fans will always be thankful to Martin Jol about. Rhett, are we getting an away days for the Ibrox trip soon? Yeah, tomorrow, mate. I need to put it all together today, mate. There's honestly hundreds of videos to stitch and put together. Many of them quite short, but yeah, it's going to be a whole kind of 48-hour thing, mate. It's not going to be 40 hours, I'm saying. It's loads of stuff from like a whole 40 hours of me being in Glasgow. Joe Briggs, favourite season ever as a Spurs fan. James Keat had great work, mate. The last season at the old White Hart Lane by miles, 2016-17. Of which, just to plug Patreon again, by the way, you can find in the archives, all of our archives sit there. From Intermediate Plus tier, you'll have access to Goodbye to the Lane. It's a 10-part diary series, a diary that I kept of that season of Tottenham's season, the last season at White Hart Lane, that was then kind of done as an audiobook basically by me a couple of years ago. So it's 10 parts. There's one part for each month from August through to May. So yeah, that's my favourite by a mile that season. Very blessed with 23 home games. Was it 121 drew 2? Was it 21 119 drew 2? I can't remember, but yeah, draw 2 and won every other game. And at the end, just absolutely murdering teams in the home straight as well. We'd have played anyone in that period and beat them at White Hart Lane. The atmosphere was hyper, man. Them last 2 home games against Arsenal and Manchester United, probably the best, near enough the 2 best home atmospheres I've ever been to. And they were the last 2. So, yeah, terrific final season. Goodbye to the Lane, 10-parter. They're all kind of like 45 minutes to an hour long, roughly. So, there's a lot of content there that stay in the archives forever, mate. So you can join up for 1 month, listen to it all, and cancel if you want. That's what you want to do. It's available. I don't know why I give this shit away so cheap, but we are. Next up is that's the best bit of content I've ever done, by the way. That's my opinion. Was it Booner, Lewis? Yeah. Listen, always before you come in here and be in the race to be first. It's not criticism. It happens. Do double check your sources, mate. Always. I did say there'll be some big Billy bollocks going around. And even preference Boone. I'm not surprised. Booner's the best. And if he get you, shame on you. Yes, it did answer your question, Rhett. Digi says, what have been your favourite TV series recently? Christ, what have we even watched? we watched Sweet Pea, me and the wife. That was alright. With is it Ella Pernell, I think. That was alright. It's so rare I watch TV these days. I like things where people get killed. It's a warped mind of mine. Jay Barker, good afternoon, James. Who's the best right-footed player in the league? Top 5 are all lefties. So we're obviously saying Palmer, Saka, Haaland, Salah. Who's the other one I'm missing that's a lefty? Who's the other lefty? Oh, Odegaard. Is Odegaard left foot? Shit. Why am I blanking? Why am I blanking about what foot Martin Odegaard is? If Martin Odegaard's not left-footed, then he's the one. Best right-footed. Crap, man. It's interesting, that. It's interesting. Isak. KDB still. Oh, Rodri. Rodri's the answer, isn't it? I know he's injured. It's Rodri, isn't it? And there you go. So Rodri has to go in the top 5, doesn't he? Ballon d'Or winner. Kovkun, thank you very much, mate. Appreciate that. Keith Rowley popped in for a few. Have a great game with call. Cheers. Kevin says, what's it all about? The Alfie Con story was the book, James. Thank you. What's it all about? Thank you. Rock Pie. Yeah, we've got it. Ian Parrin, fortunate enough to be travelling to see family at Christmas as the last 2 match days changed in one UCL format jeopardy. Not really. Again, I think we need to see. Let's see if how match day 8 is and stuff particularly. But even still, it's like obviously PSG Man City in match day 7 becomes must watch. But the reality is they're both probably still going to go through. And that's where, and they'll go in a playoff. And then you might have 1 or 2 big games in that playoff, and that's when it starts. That's when your jeopardy starts, really. And it will only really start in match day 8. Now, there's some, Red Bull Leipzig stitched themselves up and stuff, but take my team, right? Here's a reality. 3 games to go, and I said in midweek, that I thought 5 points would probably get us top 8. And that was from a position going into this week of 9th. So I thought 5 points would probably be enough. So the 1 point on Thursday wasn't disastrous. 1 point against Hoffenheim, and then it might come down to sort of goal difference. We play Elfsborg last game. But even still, we ain't not finishing that top 24. So you don't feel that jeopardy till you hit the knockout. But it's new. Let's see. I'm not against it. Let me put it that way. FPL Spartan says, on Christmas Day, what type of present will you inwardly think that God I've got when others will think it's boring? Or inwardly would you think, thank God I've got my health, mate? All of us. But I don't know if others will think it's boring. But maybe others will. Oh, it's boring. You got good health. Well, I mean, I don't really, but I'm happy. Yvette says, thanks for your fair comments on the game on Thursday. It was good fun. Suto injury, only downside. Look forward to away day. Yeah, and I think Rangers coped with that injury in the first half pretty well as well. Mustafa Gamer says, hi James, hope you have a great weekend. What's the best United v Spurs ever in your opinion? Looking forward to the Clayton and James show. Cheers. As in my favourite, I think that the 3-0, not the one this year, on the Monday night, when Mourinho did his respect afterwards, when Lucas Moura scored twice on the Monday night. That was towards the start of the 18-19 season. That one, although the first time we won at Old Trafford in 12-13, and we won 3-2, you might remember Bale scoring a goal where he kind of ran through United. That was the first time I've seen Tottenham win at United, so that was really big. Home games, 4-1 New Year's Day 1996, which was a weird game though because both teams were so under strength. 3-1 in October 99, Stephen Carr's how wits up and where he hit it, I was like in a line. I knew it was in the second he'd hit it, even though it was like 30 yards out. what's one of my favourite of the Tottenham goals. The 2-0 at Wembley was probably our most complete performance in that fixture when Eriksen scored after about 15 seconds. Just so dominant. United gave up trying to punch back at us. Just so dominant. That was at the end of like Musa's last real spell with us. Holmes, yeah. The last game, the finale, obviously, in the 16-17 season. Maybe that one because of what it holds emotionally. But yeah, maybe the 3-0 on that Monday night when Lucas Moura scored twice maybe was a good night. Next up, Greg Frost, hope so, sold Cunha to Isak. We're not doing any more Cunha stuff, kids. Deal Jeet, the Cunha thing was Boona. Yeah, got it, yeah. Richard M, what was the best food you've had at a game and where? Best food that I've had at a game? No, I need to think about that more, but I've just drawn to say sausage roll at King Power, I think. Yeah, I think that's right. I think so. King Power sausage roll, banger. FPL Gold Galazzo says, who would win in a boxing match between Roy Keane and Patrick Vieira? Vieira's got the longer reach, mate. Rhett says, outside of Salah, which Liverpool forward would you love to have at Spurs? Any of them. Any of them, mate. Ben Doak. Any of them, pal. Any of them. I'll take Nunes. All day long, I'll take Nunes, mate. No, the most suitable one for our style would be Luis Diaz. Yeah, to play on the left. Rock Pie says, if football didn't exist, what would your biggest interest be, or what else would you be doing for fun? Not a lot. Don't think. I think I'd be very unstable. I think I'd be drinking a lot. I don't think I'd be married. I don't think I'd have a child. I'd probably be gambling a lot. Football's good for like getting rid of a lot of these things. What would my biggest interest be? Wrestling. Oh, it's difficult to say, man. Diljit says, if you like people getting killed, Breaking Bad and Game of Thrones are good, but you've probably already seen. No, when I say people getting killed, I don't mean more like. I mean more like Dexter kind of stuff, right? I'll get Gabrielle starts. Oh, what a massive shock that is. Marcus says, any progress on the lamb for Christmas? We're having that and not turkey. I did mention it to Dad on the train up. I said, got to scrap all that. And he was like, yeah, but it's, yeah. And I said to him, Dad, you don't go to church, so fuck this tradition shit, right? Let's have a quick run through the team news for you. Let's see what we've got. So, Arsenal teams, the differences to what I predicted is no Thomas Partey is only a substitute. Mikel Merino plays instead. So I think, in fact, we could probably leave this up for you, can't we? So, yeah, it's that team that you see bottom corner. But we review James's predictions now. Moreno in for Partey. Everton team, I'd be very surprised if it's not just unchanged. And we have a start for Jack Harrison. No Dwight McNeil in the Everton lineup. Yay, go Everton. So no Dwight McNeil in the Everton squad. Otherwise, it's the same as that. Says Jack Harrison in for McNeil. So you'd think Ndiaye to the left, Harrison on the right. Let's get the Liverpool team for you. I guess there's not been any Salah bench, so no one's having a panic there. So I guess that's pretty much roughly what we're expecting. Of course, they've done it in number order, which is really fucking helpful. But I think it's that team exactly. I think. Yes, that looks right. Nunes is a sub. Elliott's a sub. Jota's a sub. Alisson in goal, obviously. Yep, that's doing well here, James. You make yourself not look like a dickhead yet so far. Let's see what Fulham have done. So, Fulham lineup. He's Cuenca left-sided centre-back. Harry Wilson starts. So too does Andreas Pereira. Emil Smith-Rowe is a substitute. So too Adama Traore. So it's Pereira and Harry Wilson in for Smith-Rowe and Traore. Otherwise, it's the same. Let's do the Newcastle lineup. Newcastle, way. Dubravka is in goal. There is a start for Tonali. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's the team. Murphy starts. Yeah, Harvey Barnes a sub. So that's right. The Leicester one's tough to call at the moment because of the midfield issues. I'm getting my excuses in here. And obviously the recent change of manager. Back four's right, goalkeeper Chowdhury skip. There's one different here. So Mavadidi is in for Buonanotte. He's only a substitute. So Mavadidi in for Buonanotte. So I presume El Canusa play at 10 again. And Mavadidi will play wide. And then the last one is Wolves Ipswich, isn't it? I imagine Cunha's obviously in that team, isn't he? Why didn't he at least pick something that was remotely believable? The Wolves team is not exactly that. There's a start for Bellegarde. But it's Bellegarde instead of Guedes. Is the one change from that Wolves team on screen. And finally, we'll do the Ipswich team for you. He says, there she goes. No Jacob Greaves again. Harry Clark plays at right back. Wes Burns is in the team as well. No Sammy Schmodics in that Ipswich lineup. And he's not on the bench as far as I can see here either. So Burns in for Schmodics means Hutchinson will probably play from the left. Harry Clark in for Johnson. Otherwise, that's Ipswich lineup as well. Right, that's the team news covered. So there's no massive shocks, I think, from that. Rhett says, which WWE wrestler is Spurs? Finn Balor, mate. Finn Balor. One, he supports the club. Two, he's got all the ability, but he's just below that top level. Gavin says, have you ever considered calling the Ham and Arse show Arse Ham? I think it has a better ring to it. There's probably a reason why I've not done that, mate. Sweet Blues is starting to Dubravka almost like the 23 million spent on Vlachodimos was a waste. Who are we to say, Victor? On that bombshell, guys, that is the end of the deadline stream. Thank you very much. If you haven't smashed the like yet or hit the sub button, I'd be truly grateful if you do so. I hope your arrows are green. I will be back tired again alongside Suj on Monday morning for the Game Review podcast. Why will you be tired? Because I'm going to Southampton tomorrow for more punishment and getting home at some stupid o'clock from there as well. Come you Spurs. Have a great weekend, everyone. Hope your arrows are green. See you for the Game Review pod on Monday. Ciao for now.